Hello and welcome again to the Writer Review. This is Eric Red Writer, and this week we're going to be taking a look back at the 2017 sci-fi action film titled War for the Planet of the Apes. Now, War for the Planet of the Apes runs for 2 hours and 20 minutes long. It is directed by Matt Reeves. It is produced by Peter Chernin, Dylan Clark, Rick Jaffa, and Amanda Silver. The script was written by Matt Reeves. I'm sorry, I got it. I get confused with names sometimes. Matt Reeves and Mark Bombeck. The characters were created by Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver, and it was inspired by the novel by Pierre Boulle. The score was done by Michael Giacchino, the cinematography by Michael Saracen, and it was edited by William Hoy and Stan Salfis. And the stars of the movie are Andy Serkis, Woody Harrelson, Steve Zahn, Amiah Miller, Karin Konoval, Terry Notary, Ty Olsson, Michael Adamthwaite, Toby Kebbell, Judy Greer, Sarah Canning, Max Lloyd Jones, Devyn Dalton, Alex Panovich, and Gabriel Chavarria. So what did I think of this movie? Just a second. The last of the series of Planet of the Apes, titled The War for the Planet of the Apes, this definitely sparked an abundance of positive reviews from the audience. The box office reached a plateau of over $134 million, and people were just stunned at the outcome of how the series ended. To me, this final installment was one of the best of the series, and if a film wants to wrap up a series like this, this is truly the way to do it. It's not just recycled from other movies. It's not just, something that's already been told and then just told again. Assuming that, oh, well, we'll just retell it again. Nobody will know the difference. Well, newsflash for you, people will know the difference. We're not all stupid. But, they came up with new ideas, new storylines, new angles, and they definitely found a great way to wrap up the series, if they plan to wrap up the series, or if they're going to create reboots, remakes, spin-offs. At least this franchise is just the right way to end the series if it's going to go in that direction. Like I say, good series, everything must come to an end, and if this is the way to do it, so be it. It's great to see Matt Reeves back again in the director's chair. Plus, he has the double the duty, this time serving as a co-writer, along with Mike Bombeck. It's great that Reeves returns. That way, we can easily have the series pick up where it left off from the previous installment, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. In this movie, we see the return of Caesar, played by Andy Serkis, getting his vengeance against the ruthless Colonel, played by Woody Harrelson, after the pain and heartbreak he caused to his family. In some ways, both Caesar and the rest of the apes avenging the Colonel and the rest of the other humans, it kind of makes sense that both of them have conflicts. Both of them are flawed. While yes, the Colonel did despicable things and killed off Caesar and several of his family members, and rightfully so, Caesar is automatically labeled a good guy. And even though Woody Harrelson's villain character can be a cliche, he also has an ounce of sympathy towards himself as well. He knows that the human race is getting dumber by the minute because of some epidemic that's in the air that's making the humans either lose their intelligence or just simply die off, and the apes are just getting smarter. So we do see both parties taking on each other for legitimate reasons. Although the plot seems like a story that's been done hundreds of times, Reeves succeeds in taking the efforts to create newer, fresher ideas and avoiding using recycled cliches that other filmmakers do. The epic battles between Caesar and the Colonel has increased in levels of sheer intensity that is likely to grab your attention. It's also a great way to side with the simians and truly has characters you could easily side with while having villains you could easily despise. Yes, I don't think there is any kind of sympathy you could see through the Colonel in any way, shape, or form. Woody Harrelson is definitely excellent as the villain in the story. From the opening scenes, you truly hate this person, and you hope that in the end he gets what's coming for him. Harrelson is amazingly versatile in all his performances. He's been around for almost 3.5 decades, and he always seems to impress me through every acting role that he has ever done in his years. He definitely here outdoes himself. Don't expect to see any signs of his likable character on Cheers anytime. I mean, when you look at Woody Boyd on Cheers, played by Woody Harrelson, and you look at him as the Colonel, it's like, by God, this guy's got depth. He could practically play almost any role naturally. Here, he's just flat out evil, without any single ounce of sympathy, nor is he really asking for sympathy. He's not a one-dimensional villain here either. He has his conflicts that are legit and understanding, but here he's just a guy you just purely love to hate, and you would love to see him get his comeuppance in the end. A great addition to the cast includes Amiah Miller, who plays the role of the mute girl named Nova, similar traits her predecessor Linda Harrison had in the original Planet of the Apes in the 60s and the 70s. She's been caught with the simian epidemic, making her almost primitive, but her expressions and her emotions truly make up the role in which she is mute throughout the film. Even though she can't say a word, it's her facial expressions and her emotions that tell a whole story. I mean, you can almost see the expressions when one of her ape friends dies. You could feel her heartbreak and her sympathy, and she is not just a girl who's been placed in the spotlight. She's got meaning to being why she's adopted by the apes. Sure, the apes are the smart ones because the humans have been pretty much dumbed down ever since the epidemic. But she's probably may come across as being maybe the only human character in this movie that actually has a little ounce of sympathy. Now, even though comedy is not a necessity in this movie, it does have some comic relief from Steve Zahn's character, who goes simply by the name of Bad Ape. He doesn't have any other name, just Bad Ape. Now, even though this Bad Ape could have been, an annoying, one-dimensional character, a foil, actually it turns out that even though he does provide most of the laughs in this movie, he's not an annoyance, he's not a complete nuisance, and he actually is a very important character in this movie. And he does help carry this role quite effectively. Not just in it for the ride, or not just in it as filler comic relief. The story as well as the CGI are truly the cornerstones that make the franchise all the more enjoyable. And with the apes who are talking, the CGI is on full swing, making it all the more effective in its storytelling. Yes, they can now speak in full sentences. Caesar can speak in full sentences, even though his growls and sneers are still pretty much in the ape mode. But now Caesar does talk in full sentences. No, he's not up to the same level as the Planet of the Apes from the original 1968, where they seem to talk really advanced, very human-like. But they're catching on. I mean, Caesar is still like, I am Caesar. Go up to a mountain. Caesar will be right there. You know, that's how he speaks still. They still go with the wild uproars that the apes are doing with that hoo-hoo-ha-ha stuff like that, but not as excessively. They don't. Oh, it doesn't go into too much overkill. The apes are now getting more and more smarter, while the humans are either losing their lives or they're just getting dumber and dumber because of this epidemic. Sure, I'm definitely more for practical stuff, but the CGI was used very wisely and never catches you off guard. And sure, their voices are not on the same levels as the human race or the same types of weaponry as the humans. They still use spears. They still use one of those like spit bullet type apparatuses, bows and arrows, and things like that, while we still use heavy machinery. The film is really effective in its storytelling in the terms of weaponry that the apes are using to take down these humans who are trying to either win back their superiority or the apes from getting revenge on these barbaric humans. You just practically forget that these simians are CGI. The special effects truly definitely deserve award recognition come award season. And though the film can brag that the positives definitely outweigh the negatives, there are still plenty of errors too as well. One of the guffaws includes the apes scoping the hideouts of the colonel. Caesar is observing his nemesis through his binoculars. Luca, played by Terry Notary, Caesar's reliable ally. He asks him in sign language if he sees the colonel, but Caesar responds to him even though he isn't looking at Luca. It was just a minor contrivance, but it's not effective. And even the little flaws and guffaws, they're really basically minimal. And they don't hinder the movie that much. To say that this film ends the trilogy with a bang would be an understatement. But if they wish to make more films of this caliber, Fox can now take the liberties to create more stories along the route with characters like Nova and Cornelius, which makes me sometimes often wonder if this movie is a prequel to the original Planet of the Apes, since we have characters named Nova and characters named Cornelius. It's often makes me wonder, is this a prequel? I have to ask myself that. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I don't know. But, you know, since we have characters like Nova, which was played in the 60s and 70s by Linda Harrison, and Roddy McDowall played Cornelius in the original Planet of the Apes franchise, I'm thinking this has got to be a prequel. This is definitely the opening potential for prequels to the films that were made in the 60s and 70s. And though this movie, yes, it is predictable, it still quenches your curiosity as to what will happen next. Of course, this solidifies the trust we have in Matt Reeves, as he'll be directing the next Batman film, which is something I kind of truly look forward to. Is it going to be like something that will stand out on its own, the next Batman film? Is it going to be taking pages out from Tim Burton, Christopher Nolan, God forbid, Joel Schumacher? I don't know. We'll have to find out. But I do know that Matt Reeves is supposed to be directing the next Batman film. How it turns out, well, we'll see what happens. Reeves definitely truly did a great job in the last two Planet of the Apes movies. And we definitely look forward to his future projects, whatever it may be. So when all said and done, this is a great movie. I kind of highly recommend it. If I was to give it a scale out of 10, I would give War for the Planet of the Apes an 8.5. I highly recommend you guys to see it. So I guess this ends my writer review. Thank you all for listening in. If you wish to subscribe to my channel, please feel free to do so. If you wish to leave a comment, go right ahead. But just remember, be kind, be courteous, and don't be rude. And I'll be back again with another movie review. So until next time, this is Eric Red Rider saying, keep watching those movies, and I will see you around. Goodbye.